We're into our tart pastry, and this is where you're going to learn how to make pastry if you don't know already. You want cold hands if you can, cold room out of the sun. It does make a difference actually with pastry. It makes it a lot easier, so keep everything cold. You know, you could put your flour in the fridge if you wanted to. Your bowls should be in the fridge, you know, if you've got a warm day in a brightly lit kitchen. It's all quite cool here. So we're starting actually with making a flaxseed egg to bind this together. It's fine without it, but we've got a tablespoon of flaxseed, ground flaxseed here, and we're going to put in 4 tablespoons of cold water. You know, again, cold water, not lukewarm, cold.
The colder the better, presumably.
Everything cold, everything cold. You know, we've got a cold day's cold room that we're in here, and we'll get better results. It's as simple as that. Right, so we're going to weigh in our flour, which is 210. I don't know why I just looked down to check that actually, because I've made so much of this, and I know it's 210.80 flour to fat. Right, so let's just get 210 in here, be accurate. That's way over now. And I've got a wholemeal flour here because it's just a lot nicer. It's a lot more interesting. It's more in line with kind of how I like to do food, which is whole food anyway. So we've got 210
with
there.
With pastry, Julia, as with baking, accuracy of measurement really important.
Vital. We've got 80 grams of Trex going in here. Now I use Trex because I have found the results to be a lot better. We know if we've done anything with pastry really, it's half fat to flour. 200 grams of flour, 100 grams of fat. It's less with Trex because it's got less water in it, and I have found using Trex that I have less shrinkage with my pastry. And actually, when you've got a tart filling that's going to fill here, you don't want your pastry to shrink down. So I did this with Trex and I did it with butter, and it shrunk a bit with butter because it's got more water in it. So I think Trex is the way to go every time. Yes, I can't really say that, you know, I would use anything else. So that's my Trex, and that's going to go, let's just take that. That's going to go in here, there. We're just going to have a little pinch, not much, of turmeric, our food dye. Let's just check I'm getting everything in. And then we're going to pulse this fat through this flour, and we'll just put a pinch of salt in. So it's important that this fat is mixed through. Now, in traditional recipes, this will say rub the fat into the flour. I have found this to be the best way of doing pastry because I'm not touching it. I've got no residual heat from my hands going through. I'm just making sure that everything has been mixed in from the bottom, and I'm going to pulse it a bit more to just check. You're looking for breadcrumbs. At the moment we've got lumps which are a bit bigger here than here, so we're just going to go a little bit more on that. That's good. So that's actually now clumping together a bit. So the fat's melting, so it's clumping it. So again, being brisk, you know, getting this stuff mixed. After we've mixed it, we're going straight back into the fridge with it. Right, so you can see this is now coming together. That's okay, just leave that there. Just put a little bit of flour on this bench. And we're going to get this out. I do tend to do it like this, get everything poured from this into here. There is a reason for that. So what you want to do now is actually get this together in a lump. I'm just wondering actually if we can we see past this? Shall I just move this back a bit?
Just show it to the side camera, Julie.
Is that?
Yeah, I'll get that one.
So, yeah, so I put it in a bowl because sometimes it might need a little bit more water, and I don't want to be pouring water when it's on the surface. I think this is okay. I'm thinking it might need just a little bit more water. Where did I put my water? Not very much, just a little. And the reason I felt that was it just feels a bit hard. But obviously I don't want to put too much water in it because then it's going to shrink back. This feels better now. It should feel nice and soft in your hands. If it feels hard, I can only just go with, this feels really nice and soft, a little bit wet. It's going to go onto this, which will dry it a little bit. It should clump together. Flour's got gluten in it, and we're just going to give it a little knead now to activate the gluten. When I first started making pastry, I didn't do this enough, and the pastry was falling apart. You want to knead it so that it goes really soft, pliable. And you can see that I've just moved away from putting any more flour into it because what I'm feeling is that it's dry enough and I don't want it any drier, and I don't want to be now messing around putting more water in. However, if yours feels too dry, back in here if necessary, break the whole thing up again. I mean, I've done that and it was absolutely fine. At this stage I thought, do you know what, it's a bit dry, going back in here, get this blade on it, break it up, another few drops of water, that feels better. Now we're out. That's the situation, that's where we are. So I'm activating the gluten a bit here. You don't want it too short. The last thing you want is something that's just literally falling apart. So my hands are looking quite cold because it is quite cold where I am. And that's ideal actually for this.
There's quite a lot of energy going into that, isn't there, Julia?
Yeah, there's quite a lot of energy. So that's it. I'm happy now with this. What I'm looking at is it breaking? Is it breaking up? Is it a bit dry? Is it a bit dry? I don't think it is actually. It is a bit of a judgment call. But we're going to put it in the fridge. You will get better at it through practice. And I'm just looking and just thinking, just checking that is going to be all right, and that it's not just going to break up and be a nightmare. But we aren't going to be rolling this out. We are going to fridge this, and we're going to then grate it into here because that is so much better, so much easier than all this rolling out business. No, we're not rolling. That is now going to sit in the fridge for at least half an hour, 40 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. You can freeze it as well. So into the fridge and then we'll come back.